The Desperate Mother and the Impossible. A single mother facing eviction and total despair brought her baby hidden to work in the dead of night. But when the ruthless Manhattan millionaire, a man feared for his coldness, discovered the child, something impossible happened. What transpired next will make you believe in second chances. Hit that like button and tell us where you're watching from in the comments. Let's dive into the story. Chapter 1. The Hidden Burden. The light flickered 3 times before dying completely. Clara looked at the ceiling of her cramped Brooklyn apartment and felt despair tighten her throat. The power was cut again. "Mommy?" Lily's small voice came from the mattress on the floor. "It's okay, my love. The light will be back soon." A lie. The light wouldn't come back. Just as the rent money wouldn't magically appear. Just as food wouldn't multiply in the empty refrigerator. Just as Lily's father wouldn't return and acknowledge his daughter. Her phone vibrated. Clara read the message in the faint glow of the cracked screen. "Urgent cleaning at the office. Tonight. Triple pay. Need someone reliable." Clara looked at Lily. The baby had just turned 18 months, but looked smaller, more fragile. Her huge blue eyes observed everything with a sadness no child should carry. Lily wasn't like other children. She didn't smile at strangers. She didn't reach out to anyone but her mother. When someone tried to hold her, Lily cried desperately, clinging to Clara as if her life depended on it. The clinic pediatrician had called it trauma. Babies sense when they are rejected, when they are unwanted. And Lily had been rejected before she was even born. "It won't work," Clara muttered to herself, staring at the message. "I can't bring her." But then she remembered. 3 days until eviction. The refrigerator holding only half a packet of crackers. The diaper she was using for the 3rd time because she had no money to buy more. Half an hour later, Clara stood in front of the Empire View Tower, 28 floors of glass and steel in Midtown Manhattan. Pure luxury. Pure power. And she, a 24-year-old cleaner, was about to enter with a baby hidden under her loose coat. "Are you Clara?" A man in a gray suit greeted her at the service door. "I'm Mark, the facilities manager. Thank you for coming at such short notice." "No problem. Here's the thing. Our CEO's office is a complete mess. He had a breakdown this afternoon. Threw papers, knocked things over. I need you to clean everything before he returns tomorrow morning." Clara felt Lily stir against her chest beneath the coat. "Any issue?" Mark frowned. "No, none. Where's the office?" 25th floor. You'll have the entire floor to yourself. It should be quiet." Nothing was quiet when you had a hidden baby who could start crying at an done moment. The service elevator ascended slowly. Lily woke up and began to fidget. Clara hummed softly, the song that always calmed her daughter. "Hush now. Sleep, my little angel." The doors opened on the 25th floor. Total silence. Dim lights. An elegant corridor led to dark double wooden doors. Julian Vance, CEO. Clara entered the office and nearly stumbled backward. Mark hadn't exaggerated. The place looked like a battlefield. Papers scattered all over the floor. A chair overturned. Books thrown. A shattered photo frame near the window. Clara knelt and picked up the frame. The photo showed a tall man with intense dark eyes, smiling next to a little girl about 3 years old. The child had a pink bow in her hair and smiled happily in her father's arms. Behind the photo, a handwritten inscription, "Julian and Aurora, last birthday together." Clara felt a pang in her chest. She knew what last birthday together meant. She set up a little corner for Lily between 2 leather armchairs, far from the door. She placed blankets, left water, and a cracker. Lily held her bunny and stayed quiet, as always, those enormous eyes observing everything. "Mommy will work right here, okay? If you need me, just cry and I'll come running." But Lily didn't cry. She never cried loudly. She had learned that crying didn't help. Clara began gathering the papers from the floor. They were financial reports. She didn't understand much, but some words jumped out: loss, bankruptcy, fraud, investigation. She was organizing the desk when she heard it. The elevator. Clara's heart pounded. Mark had said the CEO wouldn't be back until tomorrow. The building should be empty. The elevator doors opened, male voices, several. "Julian, you need to calm down before making any decision." "Calm down? Peter stole $8 million from the company. Our money. And you want me to calm down?" Clara rushed to Lily, picked her up, and covered the baby's mouth with her hand. She frantically looked for a place to hide. The private bathroom. It was the only option. She entered and closed the door slowly, silently. Lily began to struggle, scared by the sudden darkness. "Shh, my love, please," Clara whispered in her daughter's ear. "Be quiet, please." The voices entered the office. "Who cleaned up here?" The deep, controlled voice could only be the CEO's. "I asked the cleaning crew to come tonight," another voice replied. "I thought it best." "Great. At least something is working in this hell." Clara heard heavy footsteps, the sound of chairs being dragged, drawers opening. "Julian, let's calmly review the facts," said a third voice. "Peter has been your best friend since college. Are you sure he would steal from you?" "I have the proof, Richard. The transfers came from his account. All the money that was supposed to go to the new project was diverted to an offshore account in Panama. He says he was hacked. It's a lie. And you know what else? I discovered something else today. Something he's been hiding from me for almost 2 years." A heavy silence. In the dark bathroom, Lily began to fidget more. She didn't like enclosed spaces. She didn't like the dark. And most of all, she didn't like being away from her mother for too long, even in her arms. The baby opened her mouth, and Clara knew what was coming. "No, Lily, please." The first low whimper escaped, soft. But in the silence of that bathroom, it sounded too loud. Clara rocked her daughter desperately, hummed, did everything she could. But Lily was too scared. The crying intensified. "Are you hearing that?" Julian's voice from outside the door. "Hearing what?" "That noise. It sounds like a child." "Julian, there's no one here but us." But Lily's crying grew louder. She was panicking now, struggling in Clara's arms. Footsteps approached the bathroom door. "Is anyone in there?" Clara closed her eyes. It was over. She would be fired. Worse, she would be arrested for trespassing, for endangering a child. The doorknob turned. The door opened. Bright light flooded the bathroom. Clara blinked, blinded, holding Lily against her chest. 3 men in suits looked at her with expressions of absolute shock. The man in front was tall, broad-shouldered, with messy dark hair, deep brown eyes, which were now wide with surprise. Julian Vance. "What? How? What are you doing here?" he finally managed to say. I'm the cleaner. I came to clean and..." "With a baby?" Lily was crying desperately now, hiding her face in Clara's neck, terrified of the strange men. "I'm so sorry. I had no one to leave her with, and I needed the money, and I thought the building would be empty, and you brought a child into a work environment without permission." Julian took a step forward, his voice rising. "Do you realize the danger? What if she got hurt? What if..." "Stop!" Clara exploded, surprising herself and everyone there. "I know it was wrong, okay? I know, but I had no choice. Do you think I wanted to bring my daughter to work at 11 o'clock at night? Do you think this was easy?" Tears streamed down her face now. "Are you going to fire me? Fine. Are you going to sue me? Fine. But don't talk to me about danger when I spend every day protecting my daughter from things you can't even imagine. When I work 3 different jobs just to feed her. When I..." She couldn't continue. She broke down in sobs, still holding Lily, who cried along with her. The silence that fell was absolute. Julian looked at the young woman crumbling in front of him, at the desperately crying baby, and something moved within his chest, something that had been dead for a long time. He saw the photo on the floor, the one of Aurora, and for the first time in 3 years, he didn't feel just pain. He felt something else, something like empathy. "Get out," he said to the 2 men behind him. "But Julian," I said, "get out." The men quickly left. Julian closed the office door and turned to Clara. "What is your name?" "Clara. And hers?" He pointed to Lily, who was still crying. "Hidden. Lily." Julian knelt, bringing himself to Clara's level, who was still sitting on the bathroom floor. "Clara, look at me." She raised her red, swollen eyes. "You won't be fired, and you won't be sued. But I need to understand one thing. Where is this child's father?" And that question changed everything. Because the answer Clara gave, the name she whispered with a voice full of hurt, was the same name Julian had just discovered in investigation reports. Peter Almeida, his partner. Julian's world stopped spinning. "What?" Julian stood up so fast, he hit his knee on the bathroom door. The pain was instant, but he didn't even feel it. His brain was processing too fast. "Repeat what you said." Clara wiped her face with the back of her hand, trying to calm Lily at the same time. "Lily's father is Peter Almeida, your partner." "No, that's impossible. I worked here 2 years ago, cleaning the annex. Peter was coordinating a project there. We were together for 3 months. He said he loved me, that he was going to commit, that he would introduce me to his family." Julian felt something rising in his throat. Rage. Pure rage. "Go on." "When I found out I was pregnant, I told him. He was furious. He called me. Clara couldn't say the words in front of her daughter. "He said I planned everything, that I knew he was rich and had planned the pregnancy to trap him." "Son of a bitch," Julian muttered. "He blocked me everywhere. When Lily was born, I tried to contact him again. I sent photos, messages, nothing. He threatened me with lawyers if I tried to register her with his name, said he would prove I was unstable, that Lily would be taken from me." Julian closed his eyes. It couldn't be true. Peter had been his best friend for 15 years. They had built this company together. They had cried together when Aurora died. How could Peter have done this? "Do you have proof?" he asked. Opening his eyes again. "I have the old messages before he blocked me. I have photos of him with me, and I have this." Clara adjusted Lily in her arms, turning the baby's back carefully. She moved the blonde hair from her nape. Right where the neck met the spine, there was a birthmark, a perfect, vivid red heart. "Peter has the same mark," Clara said softly. "In the exact same spot. I saw it when we were together. And when Lily was born with the same mark, I knew she was his." That he was lying. Julian sat heavily in his leather chair. His mind worked quickly, connecting the dots. Peter had stolen $8 million from the company. Peter had abandoned a daughter. Peter had lied about everything. "How old is she?" he asked, looking at Lily, who had finally stopped crying but still hid her face in Clara's neck. 18 months. "And you've been raising her alone all this time?" "Yes." "What do you survive on per month?" Clara hesitated. It was humiliating to admit. $400, sometimes less. Julian felt something break inside him. $400. He spent more than that on corporate lunches in a week. "Get it. Get up," he said suddenly. "What? Get up? You're coming with me." "Going where?" "To fix this. Now!" Chapter 2. The Confrontation. 5 minutes later, Julian was in the executive elevator with Clara and Lily. He had called Peter and Richard, his lawyer. "Emergency meeting in my office. Everyone." 15 minutes. Clara was terrified. Lily, sensing her mother's tension, started whimpering softly again. "Does she always cry like this?" Julian asked, looking at the baby. She's sensitive. Doesn't like strangers. Doesn't like new places. The pediatrician says it's because she senses she was rejected. Babies understand more than we think. Julian looked at the small, fragile child and saw Aurora. Not physically. Lily was blonde. Aurora was brunette. But there was something in the eyes, that deep sadness no child should carry. May I? He reached out his hand, wanting to touch Lily's little arm. She doesn't like... But before Clara could finish, Lily turned her head. She looked at Julian with those immense, tear-filled blue eyes. And she didn't cry. She didn't pull away. She just looked. Julian felt something stir in his chest. That look. So similar. So familiar. "Hi, Lily," he said softly. "You're very beautiful, you know." Lily tilted her head, studying the tall man. There was something about him. Something different. He wasn't trying to grab her by force. He wasn't speaking loudly. He wasn't frightening. He was sad. Just like her. The elevator doors opened on the 25th floor. Julian walked out first, then waited for Clara. "Come on, don't be afraid. I won't let anyone hurt you." It was a strange promise coming from a man she barely knew, but Clara believed him. 15 minutes later, the office was full. Peter had arrived, still smelling of alcohol in a wrinkled suit. Richard, the lawyer, had his laptop open. Mark, the manager, looked confused at the door. "What's going on?" Peter asked, annoyed. "Julian, it's almost midnight. Couldn't this wait?" "No, sit down." Peter slumped into a chair grudgingly. That's when he saw Clara, standing in the corner of the office with Lily in her arms. His expression changed completely. He turned pale. "What is she doing here? Do you know her?" Julian asked. His voice dangerously calm. No, Answer me. I met her years ago, but it has nothing to do with... Nothing to do? Nothing to do! Julian took a step toward Peter. "She has a daughter by you. A daughter you abandoned." Peter stood up, trying to maintain his composure. "That's the crazy woman I told you about. The one who tried to trap me with a baby. I have nothing to do with that child." "Liar!" Clara's voice surprised everyone. She never screamed, but now she was trembling with rage. "You know she's yours. You saw the mark when she was born. I sent you a photo, and you blocked me because you were afraid to take responsibility." "What mark?" Richard asked. Taking notes, Clara turned Lily's back again, showing the heart-shaped mark. Peter turned even paler. "Peter," Julian said, controlling his anger, "take off your shirt." "What?" "Take off your shirt, now." "Julian, this is ridiculous. I know you have a heart-shaped birthmark on your nape. You told me that when we were teenagers. You said it was special, that only you had it. Take off your shirt and show us." Peter was cornered. He looked at Clara, at Lily, at Julian. There was no escape. Slowly, he took off his jacket and began unbuttoning his shirt. When he turned his back, everyone saw it. The same mark. The same perfect heart. In the exact same spot as Lily's. Richard let out the breath he was holding. That is biological evidence of paternity. Peter spun around, trying to defend himself. "That proves nothing. Lots of people have birthmarks. It's a coincidence." "In that shape? In that specific place?" Julian laughed without humor. "Do you really think anyone will believe that? I'll take a DNA test and prove that child isn't mine." "Fine, do it. But in the meantime, you are suspended from the company. You can't do that." "Yes, I can. Besides stealing $8 million, you abandoned a daughter. You violated all the values of this company. You are out." Peter looked around, seeking support. He found none. Even Mark, who was always neutral, looked at him with disgust. "You'll regret this, Julian." "The only thing I regret is trusting you." Peter stormed out. The silence was heavy. Clara sank into the chair, Lily still in her lap. "Richard," Julian said, "prepare an acknowledgement of paternity lawsuit. I want Clara to file the process tomorrow, and I want our company to pay all her legal costs." "Wait," Clara stood up. I can't accept that. It's too much money. I don't have a way to— You won't pay anything. Consider it compensation for what my ex-partner did to you. But, Clara, Julian looked into her eyes. Let me do this. Please. There was something in that request. Something that went beyond justice or charity. It was personal. Why are you doing this? Clara asked. You don't even know me. Julian looked at Lily, who had finally relaxed in her mother's lap. Because I know what it's like to lose a daughter, and I won't let anyone reject a child while I have the power to stop it. The raw truth of those words hit Clara in the chest. The little girl in the photo. Aurora. Leukemia. 4 years old. She's been gone for 3 years. I'm so sorry. Julian nodded, accepting the condolence. But there's one condition for me to pay your legal costs, he continued. Clara felt her stomach tighten. There was always a condition. What? You're going to live at my house. Chapter 3. The Offer of Protection. Clara stared at Julian as if he had spoken a foreign language. Live at your house? Are you crazy? No, I'm not. Peter is vindictive and impulsive, now that he knows you're here. I don't know what he might do. He might try to intimidate you. He might hire someone to scare you. He might even try to take Lily. He wouldn't do that. Are you sure? Because I thought I knew my best friend of 15 years. And today I found out he stole millions and abandoned a daughter. Then no, I don't trust what he might or might not do. Clara shook her head. I can't just go live in a stranger's house. I'm not a stranger. I'm her uncle. Julian pointed to Lily. Whether you like it or not, that baby has Vance family blood. And no Vance will live in a risky situation while I can prevent it. I'm not in a risky situation. No, then tell me, are you up to date on your rent? Clara looked away. Do you have food in your refrigerator for next week? Silence. Is Lily up to date on her vaccines? Does she have clothes that fit her? Enough diapers? Stop! Clara felt tears sting her eyes. Stop, please. Julian took a deep breath, softening his tone. I'm not judging you, Clara. I'm trying to help. You fought alone for 18 months. You don't have to fight alone anymore. Lily chose that moment to yawn loudly, rubbing her eyes. She was exhausted. She needs to sleep, Clara said. Then let's go. My driver is waiting downstairs. I still haven't agreed. Clara, Julian approached, looking directly at her. I know it's strange. I know you don't know me. But I promise that you and Lily will be safe. You'll each have your own room. You can leave whenever you want. It's not a prison. It's protection. Clara looked at Lily, who was now fighting sleep, her little head heavy on her shoulder. For how long? Until we resolve the legal situation with Peter. Until you are financially stable. Or until you decide you want to leave. Whichever comes first. It was crazy. Completely crazy. But Clara was so tired of fighting alone. All right, she whispered, but only until things settle down. The smile Julian gave was small, but real. Let's go get your things. The driver stopped in front of Clara's apartment and showed no reaction. Julian got out of the car with her. You don't have to come in, Clara said quickly, embarrassed. It's small and— Clara. Julian stopped her. I came from the outside too. My mother was a housekeeper. I know what it's like. I don't judge you. That disarmed Clara's last defense. The apartment was one room, mattress on the floor, 2-burner stove, cracked sink. But it was clean, organized. There were Lily's drawings taped to the wall. Julian saw a photo stuck to the old refrigerator. Clara pregnant, smiling with her hand on her belly. Next to her, a man he knew well. Peter. Can I take this? Julian asked, pointing to the photo. Why? Proof that you had a relationship for the lawsuit. Clara agreed. She gathered a few clothes in a plastic bag. She grabbed Lily's bunny, some diapers, the bottle. That was mostly it. Ready? Is that all? It's all we have. The sentence hung in the air, heavy with meaning. In the car, Lily finally fell truly asleep, her head resting on Clara's chest. The drive to the Upper East Side took 40 minutes. When the car stopped in front of a massive mansion gate, Clara felt her stomach turn. "You live here?" "I inherited it from my grandmother. It's too big for one person, but I can't bring myself to get rid of it. Too many memories." The house had 3 stories, a garden with a pool, a garage for 5 cars. It was another world. A woman in her 60s opened the door, wearing a robe with her hair tied up. "Mr. Julian, is something wrong?" "Sorry to wake you, Mrs. Davis. This is Clara and Lily. They'll be staying here for a while. Can you prepare the blue guest room?" Mrs. Davis looked at Clara and Lily with surprise, but didn't ask anything. "Of course. I'll prepare everything." Julian led Clara to a huge living room with leather sofas and a wall-sized TV. "Sit down. You must be exhausted." Clara sat carefully, Lily still sleeping in her lap. "Can I hold her for a bit?" Julian asked suddenly. Clara hesitated. Lily didn't let anyone hold her. No one. When someone tried, she panicked. "She doesn't like—" "I know. But can I try?" There was something so vulnerable in the request that Clara couldn't refuse. "You can try." Julian sat beside her and slowly held out his arms. Clara began to pass Lily to him, bracing herself for the baby to wake up screaming. But Lily didn't wake up. Or rather, she woke up for a second, felt she was in different arms, opened her blue eyes, saw Julian, and went back to sleep. She simply rested her head on his shoulder and continued sleeping. Julian remained completely still, barely breathing, afraid to break the moment. "She never does that," Clara whispered, incredulous. "Never. She cries with everyone. Maybe she knows," Julian said softly, adjusting Lily more carefully in his lap. "Maybe she knows I understand." "Understand what?" "What it's like to be rejected by the person who should love you." Clara looked at the powerful man, the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, holding her daughter as if she were the most precious thing in the world. And she understood that Julian was just as broken as she was, only for different reasons. Mrs. Davis returned 15 minutes later. "The room is ready. I also set up a makeshift crib for the little one." Julian stood up slowly, still holding Lily. "I'll take her," he said. "Will you show us the way?" They went up 2 flights. The room was bigger than Clara's entire former apartment. It had a king-size bed, a closet, a private bathroom with a tub, and in the corner, a light wood crib with a Star Mobile. "This is—" Clara couldn't finish the sentence. "It was Aurora's," Julian said softly. "It's been stored for 3 years, but I think she would like another child to use it." He placed Lily in this crib with extreme care. The baby stirred, reached for her bunny, and when Clara placed the toy beside her, Lily sighed and relaxed completely. "She's at peace," Mrs. Davis commented, smiling. "Babies sense when they are safe." Julian looked at the sleeping Lily and felt something he hadn't felt in 3 years. Hope. Chapter 4. The Shared Healing. Stairs. After Clara took a hot shower and put on clean clothes Mrs. Davis lent her, she found Julian in the kitchen. He was making hot chocolate. "My mother always made this when I was stressed," he explained. "I think you need it." They sat at the huge kitchen table, each with their mug. "Why are you really doing this?" Clara asked suddenly. "It's not just because of Peter, is it?" Julian rotated the mug between his hands. "When Aurora got sick, I would have given everything to save her. But there was nothing I could do. Money doesn't solve aggressive leukemia. Power doesn't bring a child back." He looked at Clara. "But today, when I saw you crying in that bathroom, with Lily in your arms, I realized there was something I could do. I could help a child. I could make a difference. You're trying to save Lily because you couldn't save Aurora." The raw truth of those words hit Julian in the chest. Maybe, or maybe Lily is saving me. They were silent, drinking the hot chocolate, each lost in their own thoughts. "There's something I need to tell you," Clara said suddenly. "What?" "Lily has problems. Emotional ones. The pediatrician says she shows signs of reactive attachment disorder because of the rejection. She doesn't bond with anyone. She doesn't smile. She barely interacts. But she let you hold her today. I have no idea why." Julian had a theory, but didn't share it. Maybe Lily recognized someone who was also broken. Maybe children could see beyond the masks adults wore. "We'll help her," he said with conviction. "I'll hire the best specialists, child therapists, whatever she needs. I can't pay." "Don't ask to pay. She's my niece now. Let me take care of her." Clara felt the tears return. But this time, they weren't tears of despair. They were tears of relief. For the first time in 18 months, she wasn't alone. Chapter 5. A New Normal. At 3 a.m, Clara woke up to a strange noise. She quickly got up, thinking Lily was crying. But the crib was empty. Her heart pounded. "Lily? Lily!" She ran out of the room barefoot, panicking. She stumbled down the stairs and stopped at the living room door. Julian was sitting on the sofa, wearing a sweatshirt and t-shirt, with Lily in his lap. The baby was awake, looking at him with those huge eyes, while Julian hummed softly. "Twinkle, twinkle, little star." Lily wasn't crying. She wasn't struggling. She was just looking. Fascinated. "She woke up crying," Julian explained when he saw Clara. "I heard it from my room and came to check. I didn't want to wake you because you were exhausted. I hope you don't mind." Clara should have minded. She should have been angry that someone took her daughter without permission. But all she felt was gratitude. "She let you hold her? Again?" "She did. She even stopped crying when I started singing. She never stops crying for anyone." Julian looked at Lily, who was now yawning again. "Maybe she knows we understand each other. We suffered at the hands of the same person. Peter stole money and trust from me. Peter stole her father from her. We were rejected by the same person." Clara sat next to them on the sofa. "It's a strange connection, but it's a connection." Lily finally closed her eyes again, snuggled against Julian's chest. Her breathing became deep and regular. "You're good at this," Clara said. "Being a father." Julian smiled sadly. "I was. I don't know if I still am. Lily chose you. Children don't choose just anyone." And in that moment, at 3 a.m, in the living room of a mansion, 3 broken people began to heal together. Morning arrived with bright light filling the room. Clara woke up startled, disoriented. It took her 3 seconds to remember where she was. The mansion, Julian, Lily. "Lily!" She jumped out of bed and rushed to the crib. Empty. The panic returned instantly. Clara ran out, flying down the stairs, screaming, "Lily! Lily!" Voices came from the kitchen. Clara burst in like a hurricane and stopped. Lily was sitting in a high chair, eating fruit puree that Mrs. Davis offered with a spoon. The baby had puree on her cheek, chin, hands. But was she smiling? No, it wasn't possible. Lily never smiled. "Good morning," Julian said, entering the kitchen with the newspaper in his hand. He was already in his suit, ready for work. "Coffee." She's smiling," Clara said, still in shock. "Mrs. Davis has a special talent with children," Julian explained. "She took care of Aurora since she was a baby." Mrs. Davis wiped Lily's mouth with a towel. "This girl is a love. She just needed a little attention and good food in her belly." Lily turned her head and saw Clara. Her eyes lit up. "Mommy!" Her voice was still small and whiny, but it was real. It was happy. Clara ran and picked up her daughter, covering her face with kisses. "Are you okay, my love? Are you happy?" Lily hugged her mother's neck. Julian watched the scene with a pang in his chest. This had been his life for 4 years, before the leukemia, before everything fell apart. "I need to go to the office," he announced. "Richard is already preparing the documents for the lawsuit against Peter. Clara, you need to sign some things today." "All right. And one more thing." Julian hesitated. "You no longer work as a cleaner. I'm officially hiring you. Personal assistant. Salary, $8,000 a month to start, plus benefits." Clara almost dropped Lily. "8,000? Are you crazy?" "I am not. You'll help organize my schedule, some personal projects, those things. And most importantly, you'll stay with Lily, without having to worry about money." "Julian, that's charity." "It's not charity, it's justice. Peter should have been paying support for over a year. Consider it compensation until we win the lawsuit." Clara didn't know what to say. $8,000. She had never seen so much money put together in her life. "Also," Julian continued, "I'm opening a savings account for Lily. Every month, I'll deposit the equivalent of the support Peter should be paying. When she grows up, she'll have money for college-ish to start her life." "Why?" Clara asked, her voice choked. "Why are you doing all this?" Julian looked at Lily, who was now playing with Clara's hair. "Because she deserves it. Because you deserve it. And because I can." He picked up his briefcase and headed for the door. "Richard arrives at 10. Mrs. Davis will help with Lily while you sign the papers." And he left. Clara stood there, still processing everything that was happening. "He is a good man," Mrs. Davis said softly. "He was lost when he lost his little girl, but I think you two are bringing him back." Chapter 6. The Unraveling and the Kiss. At 10 sharp, Richard arrived with a thick folder of documents. "Good morning, Clara. I brought everything we need to start the process." They sat at the living room table. Lily was on the rug, playing with building blocks Mrs. Davis had found stored away. First, the paternity acknowledgement. Richard explained, "With the evidence of the birthmark and the photos of you with Peter, we already have a strong case. But we will request a compulsory DNA test to eliminate any doubt. And if he refuses, refusal is seen as an admission of guilt. The judge can acknowledge paternity even without the test. But knowing Peter, he'll take the test just to try and prove he's right, and he will fail." Clara signed where Richard indicated. "Second," he continued, "retroactive child support. Lily is 18 months old. Peter owes 18 months of support. Considering his income, we're talking about approximately $50,000. Clara gasped. "How much?" "Peter is a partner in a multi-million-dollar company, or was before Julian suspended him. Support is calculated based on income. If you win the case, you receive everything at once, plus the monthly support going forward." "I don't want his money." "Clara, this isn't about you." Richard looked at her seriously. "It's about Lily. She is entitled to that money. It's his obligation as a father." Clara knew he was right, but the idea of receiving anything from Peter made her feel disgusted. "Third," Richard continued, "we need to discuss custody. Do you want to share with Peter?" "Never. Then we will ask for full custody. But Clara, I need to warn you. This will be a battle. Peter will hire expensive lawyers. He will try to paint you as irresponsible, unstable. He will use the fact that you took Lily to work against you." "I only did that because—" "I know. And the judge will understand too when we explain your financial situation. But be prepared. It'll be tough." Clara looked at Lily, who was now trying to fit a round block into a square hole, frustrated. "I can endure anything for her." "Good. Because there's one more thing." Richard hesitated. "Julian wants to include a request for a temporary restraining order. Basically, preventing Peter from having any contact with Lily until the case is resolved." "Can he do that?" "With the right arguments, yes. Emotional abandonment, neglect. The fact that Peter is being investigated for financial fraud, all that weighs heavily." Clara signed the last document. "Ready. Now we wait. Now it's war." The war began 3 days later. Peter hired the most expensive law firm in New York. He filed a counterclaim, alleging that Clara was an opportunist who had planned the pregnancy and was now manipulating Julian against him. Worse, he had documents that proved his version. He fabricated conversations, Richard explained to Julian and Clara in the mansion living room. Edited messages showing Clara asking for money, threatening to expose the relationship. But that's a lie. Clara was trembling with anger. I never asked for money. I just wanted him to acknowledge his daughter. I know, and we will prove it. But we need your original messages. All of them. Clara took her old phone and spent hours recovering archived conversations, screenshots, photos. Everything that proved Peter had lied. Julian watched it all in silence, his jaw tight with rage. He won't win, he said finally. I won't let him. That night, after Lily was asleep, Julian found Clara on the balcony. She was crying silently. I ruined everything, she sobbed. If I hadn't gotten involved with him, none of this would be happening. Don't talk like that. You didn't ruin anything. You fell in love. You trusted. Those are normal things to do. The one who made the mistake was him. Only him. But what if the judge believes his lies? What if he gets custody? He won't. I won't let him. I have resources Peter can't even imagine, and I will use every single one of them to protect Lily. Clara saw the determination in Julian's eyes and believed him. Chapter 7. The smile that changed everything. The first hearing was scheduled for 2 weeks later. Julian hired a team of private investigators to delve into Peter's life. What they found was devastating. Peter had other debts, other frauds, and possibly other women he had deceived. We found 3, the investigator reported. 1 in Boston, 1 in Miami, 1 in Dallas, all with similar stories. He promised a serious relationship, disappeared when they got pregnant or wanted commitment. Will they agree to testify? 2 will. The 3rd is thinking about it. Julian slammed his fist on the table. That son of a bitch! How many lives did he destroy? Many, the investigator replied. And there's more. We found evidence that the company's money diversion has been happening for more than 2 years, not just recently. He is systematic. How much? It could reach $20 million in total. The number made Julian sit down heavily. $20 million. He stole $20 million while I trusted him completely. The night before the hearing, Julian couldn't sleep. He stayed in the living room, thinking about everything that had happened in the last few weeks. That's when he heard tiny footsteps coming down the stairs. Lily. The baby had climbed down alone, holding the railing, looking for someone. Lily, what are you doing awake? She didn't answer. She just walked up to him and held out her arms. Julian picked her up. Lily snuggled against his chest and sighed. Can't sleep either? The baby shook her head. Are you scared about tomorrow? She looked at him with those enormous eyes, and Julian swore he saw understanding there. I'm scared too, he admitted. Scared I won't be able to protect you and your mom. Scared I'll fail again. Lily placed her small hand on his face, and then, for the first time since they met, Lily smiled. A true, wide smile that illuminated her whole face. Julian felt something break inside his chest, but it wasn't pain. It was something different. It was love. He had fallen in love with this child who wasn't his by blood, but who had chosen him as family. I promise, he whispered to Lily. I promise I will protect you, even if it's the last thing I do. Lily rested her head on his shoulder and went back to sleep, and Julian knew he was lost. He wasn't doing this just for justice. He was doing it for love. Chapter 8. Vows and Adoption. The morning of the hearing arrived with gray skies and the threat of a storm. Julian wore his most expensive suit, battle armor for the legal battlefield. Clara wore a simple but dignified outfit he had bought for her. Lily stayed with Mrs. Davis. Uncle Julian, Lily said, holding Julian's hand as he bent down to say goodbye. It was the first time she had called him that. Will you come back? I will, and I'll bring your mom with me. I promise. Outside the courthouse, the DNA results arrived. 99.9% probability of paternity. Peter's attempts to discredit the evidence failed. In the courtroom, Julian delivered his final statement, fueled by raw emotion and grief for his lost daughter, Aurora. This man had the gift of a healthy child and simply threw it away. He doesn't deserve Lily. He doesn't deserve to be called a father. The judge, clearly moved and armed with irrefutable evidence of Peter's fraud and abandonment, ruled swiftly. Paternity acknowledged. Full custody granted to Clara. Visitation denied indefinitely due to Peter's conduct. Outside, Clara collapsed in Julian's arms, tears of profound relief shaking her body. "She's safe," she sobbed. "My God, she's finally safe." 3 months later, things had settled into a new normal. Clara was Julian's highly paid personal assistant. Lily was unrecognizable. No longer isolated, she ran through the house laughing, and she had started calling Julian Daddy. One July evening, 6 months after the first kiss, Julian planned a special dinner. After the disastrous attempt at cooking, he got down on one knee. "Clara, I know this started in a crazy way, but I have fallen in love with you. I don't want to live another day without you. Marry me? Let me be your husband? Let me be Lily's father, not just in the heart, but on paper too." Clara cried, nodding frantically. "Yes, yes, yes!" The wedding was small, perfect, with Lily stealing the show as the flower girl. The most emotional moment came when the celebrant asked if anyone objected. Lily raised her tiny hand. "I want to say that I love my mommy and my daddy, and that we are a real family, and no one will ever separate us again." 6 months later, Julian entered the house with an official envelope. "It's the certificate," he said, his voice choked. "Lily Carolina Vance, legitimate daughter of Julian Edward Vance and Clara Carolina Vance." The adoption was approved. Julian knelt down to Lily. "It means that now, on paper, in law, in everything, you are my daughter. For real. Forever. No one can change that ever again." Lily threw her arms around his neck. "I was always your daughter, Daddy. In my heart, I always was." Julian hugged her tight. He knew she was right. He had been given the greatest gift, a second chance at fatherhood. His broken heart, which had been dead for so long, was finally beating for real. Because sometimes, the best families aren't born. They find each other at the right moment, in the right place, and they choose each other forever. What a beautiful ending to a journey of survival and second chances. If this story of love and true family touched your heart, please hit the like button, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe. Tell us your definition of real family in the comments below.